Running Google Ads on a small budget in 2026 is really, really challenging. And, even if you're just a new advertiser starting to use Google Ads with no data at all, it's really difficult as well to actually see progress because you're competing with brands that are spending a huge amount, and also they have a lot of conversion data, which is a big advantage in today's age. So, what do we need to understand first before we develop a Google Ad strategy that actually allows us to compete in today's age as a small advertiser or just as an advertiser with a small budget? So, what we need to understand is Google search, it captures demand, right? So basically, whether you run an ad or not, the amount of people who are searching up, a query relevant to your industry is fixed to a certain degree, right? So whether you run the ad or you don't run the ad, that person is going to search the query no matter what. Whereas Meta is a bit different, right? Like Meta, it's more of a demand generating platform, right? So, even if someone's not interested and you serve an ad to some random person and you have a really, really good hook, you have a really, really good ad, you can convince that person to go to your website and buy, right? Theoretically. So, it's important to understand the intent and the mindsets of these two consumer groups, right? Based off the different platforms. It's really important. So that's the mindset that we need to understand in the paid search environment. Someone is searching up because they are interested, they have intent, and whether you run an ad or not, they're searching up. You're not generating that search, right? So why this is important is because it impacts costs, right? So it's basic supply and demand, right? If you've got a certain amount of people who are going to search up a particular query in a given month or a given day, right? The more advertisers you have in that in that auction, the more expensive CPCs are going to be, right? Like if you have 1,000 people searching up the query per day, you have 7 advertisers, your CPC might be around $15. If that goes up to 8 people, your CPC is going to increase, right? Like this is basically how it works. So again, if you're in a very, very competitive industry and you're competing with businesses or brands that have just huge budgets, right? Well, they can sustain the high cost per clicks that come with a very, very competitive industry. If you're a small advertiser, right, well, it can be challenging to compete and it can be challenging to afford these CPCs. It's not impossible, which I'm going to get into, but it is challenging and it's something that we need to be aware of, right? So when it comes to search ads, I'm going to be completely transparent. I don't think I've ever read a Google Ads description in my life, right? So, from in my experience and from my perspective, the thing that actually matters is if someone types in dentist near me, right? They are automatically drawn to the first ad that appears, and all they want to see is like, the headline being somewhat relevant to the query. So if they're typing in dentist near me and they see, bright smiles, dental, and then same day appointment available, cool, they're going to click, right? You know, being more specific as well, if you're using like keyword insertion as well, and you're bidding on dentist near me, someone searches and then the first ad they see is dentist near me, that's in the headline, they're going to be like, fantastic, this is exactly what I'm looking for, and they're going to click the first ad. The reason why this is something to pay attention to is, again, this is the way people search in today's environment, right? It's I search up X and I'm going to click on whatever is like comes up first, as long as it's relevant to what I'm looking for. And that's why, again, if you have large budgets, you can just maximize top of page bid and just dominate because you're getting all of the clicks, right? Because most people click the first ad they see. They do click the second, they click the third, but realistically they just click the first, right? So you really want to be showing here. And when it comes to ads, it's very difficult to stand out. And that's what I wanted to that's what I wanted to get to, right? Like standing out in paid search. I mean, look, you you can say whatever you want. Sure, I'm not saying, you know, the the ad copy isn't important. It is important, right? And if your headline is very attractive, it can definitely influence someone clicking your ad versus a competitor. If you're maybe in the second position, of course, I'm not saying that isn't the case. All I'm saying is top of page bid or top of page rank, from my experience, is way more important than what your actual ad says, as long as the headline is somewhat relevant. So, yeah. Okay. Now, the next thing we need to understand is how the actual algorithm works. And again, why it's really difficult to compete against large advertisers with a lot of conversion data, right? So there's two main bidding strategies, bidding models, if you want to call it that, in Google Ads. You've got smart bidding, which is like maximize conversions. Then you've got manual bidding, which is just you control the actual bid on the keyword. You set the bids manually, right? Those are the two, kind of umbrella bid strategies that are the main two, right? Manual and smart bidding, and then maximize conversions falls in smart bidding. So in smart bidding, right, the way it works is when you have a lot of data, and this applies to advertisers who have a lot of data. So you have to have a lot of data. When you have a lot of data, the way this bidding model works is it's very selective. It's not query based, it's user based. So what I mean by that is, let's just say someone searches up, again, dentist near me, and the advertiser is using maximize conversions. Google will actually look at the user search behavior and be selective in who it searches, in who it shows your ad to, and in what auctions it goes for, right? So in this scenario, you see, for example, Sarah, 34, and basically she is she's high intent. She's visited site 3 times, location match similar to conversions or similar to previous purchases. Therefore, Google knows that this person probably has a higher chance of converting again, and therefore they're going to bid for this particular person. Now, whether you should be showing for someone who's a current customer is not the point. Yeah, you probably should definitely add that as an exclusion. But the point is Google looks at that audience signal and says, I'm definitely going to show for this user because they're probably going to convert, right? Then the next one is, in market signal, device match, peak hour. Again, they're going to bid high. Another one, lookalike of past conversions. Google can see that they're a very, very similar customer. They're going to bid. Whereas you see these two, they've skipped. And why have they skipped? Because, it's a student signal, low purchase intent, no history. And then another one could be a researcher signal. So they're just researching dentists near me. I don't know, maybe they're a competitor or something. And they just want to see, who's in kind of my industry and who am I competing against? Now, the point is in this scenario, right, Google isn't just showing for every single user under the sun. It's selective based off their actual data, right? Which is scary, but again, that's the benefit you have when you're a large competitor, when you're a large advertiser and have heaps of conversion data. Now, if you're using manual bidding, it's user query based. It's query based. It's not user based, right? And what I mean by user based is, right, user based meaning Google looks at the particular user search behavior and then shows the ad based off the level of likelihood that that person is to convert, right? Whereas query based is, you don't have that conversion data, so Google can't actually assess that user on that level because it has nothing to compare it to. You don't have conversion data, so it doesn't know what data to compare that user's history on, right? So therefore, if you're using manual bidding, you have no, it's manual and you're selecting the bids. You're basically telling Google, hey Google, treat every searcher the same, no matter what. As long as they search up dentist near me, I want you to show my ad and enter the auction. So it shows for every single user under the sun, right? Even if they're researcher based or whatever, because that's what manual bidding does, right? And it's not that one's better than the other. I mean, yeah, you can obviously this one's better than this one, arguably. But the point is it's really important to understand how the bidding models work, especially if you're a new advertiser, because this is what you're going to be using. So you need to be very, 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 very certain in the query you're bidding on, because you're showing up for every single person. So you need to make sure that query is very high intent, which we're going to get into. So I'm going down now a bit further, right? So this is just the last point that I want to finish on before I get into the actual strategy. Okay, so there's three match types, right? Just very quickly, I'm going to explain three in case you're not familiar with them. You've got exact, phrase, and broad. Okay, exact match. Basically, if you are bidding on dentist near me, Google will only show your ad to queries that share the exact meaning of your keyword. So show it for like dentist close to me, because it's the exact same as dentist near me, right? So you're very, very tight, and you're telling Google, hey Google, this is what I want to show for. This is it. Whereas if you go up the ladder to phrase and then to broad, it becomes a little looser. Okay, so if it's phrase, then it shows for searches that include the meaning of your phrase with words before after. So best dentist near me, affordable dentist near me, open now. Again, it can be like, don't get me wrong, phrase can be okay in scenarios, but the point is you're just running a greater risk the the looser the match type, right? Like, you no longer have granular control in saying, Google, this is my keyword, and I only want to show this keyword. Now, you're allowing Google to kind of do a few things, right? So your control kind of diminishes. And then broad's just crazy, right? Broad is just saying, show for any search Google thinks is related. So dentist near me, teeth whitening, right? The point is, and the reason why I am sharing this is, again, let's just now match this to bidding models. Very important. So if you're using smart bidding, maximize conversions, and you're using broad match, well, like, this is what Google wants you to do, because the theory is that since Google is looking at the user, and it's looking at their search behavior, it wants freedom. So basically, it looks at it and it says, you know what, I am bidding on dentist near me, right? And I know that, for example, this person here is really, really relevant, even though they're searching up teeth widening costs, which is pretty far from dentist near me. Based on their user behavior, I know that they're actually looking for a dentist. So therefore, I'm going to show the ad, enter the auction, and try to win that conversion, essentially, because I know that they're really looking for a dentist. And that's what Google does, right? So broad match is, and when you have a lot of data, can work, and it does work, right? And I'm going to show, I'm going to get into the strategy that, like, I'd say 90% of advertisers use when they have huge budgets, and it's definitely this, right? But I'll get into the detail a bit more. Now, you can see how this will raise a lot of issues when you're using broad with manual bidding. Because remember, it's not user-based, it's query-based. So if I'm bidding for dentist near me and Google isn't actually looking at the user's search behavior, well, you've told Google, hey Google, I want you to show for every single query, no matter what, because like, yeah, that's the whole point of broad match, and I'm using manual bidding, right? Enter every single auction as long as my bid's high enough. So you're going to show for like teeth whitening costs, dentist open Saturday, how to pull a tooth, best dental reviews, right? Like you're going to show up for every search under the sun. And the thing is the algorithm, the AI isn't filtering out low intent from high intent. It's showing for every single intent. And this is how you can waste a lot of money as a new advertiser entering Google Ads or paid search. Because, like, yeah, so please don't do this. Don't do this. If you're a new advertiser, please do not use broad match. Even just don't use broad match, right? And again, I'm going to get into strategy because you will waste a lot of money. You'll waste a lot of money. All right. But it's important just to share how Google works if you're kind of more of an established advertiser versus just a completely new advertiser to the space, right? So, what do we do? How do we stand out? Like what? Like, are you just saying basically, if I'm a new advertiser, I'm doomed, and there's no point in even trying on a small budget? No, definitely not. And you can actually do a lot more than large advertisers if you kind of know what you're doing and you have a bit of a strategy. So that's what I'm going to get into, and also what you can kind of take advantage of, right? Like the gaps in these large advertiser strategies. So the first thing that you need to understand, or we need to understand, is like quality score. So in other words, how does the actual auction even work, right? Like how is Google even, giving me this particular person? Like how do I win the auction? How do I appear number one for this query? Like how, Well, this is how. So basically, this is how the auction works. The auction works based off what's called ad rank, and this is the main factor that Google looks at and determines whether they should show you or they should show like the other advertiser who's also bidding on this query. It's ad rank. And how is ad rank determined? It's determined by your bid, all right, times your quality score. All right, that's how it's determined. So what is quality score made out of? It's made out of expected click-through rate. So does Google expect people to click your ad based on historical data? Ad relevancy, how closely does your ad copy match what someone searches for? And landing page experience, does your page deliver on what the ad promises? These are the three factors, and Google ranks them from below average to above average. So below average, average, and above average. Obviously, if you appear above average for all three, you're going to have a 10, the highest quality score possible, which is what you want, right? So, yeah, that's how your quality score is determined. Now, how is your actual ad rank determined? So remember, it's max bid times quality score. So if we scroll down, let's just say the big brand, right? The big advertiser, who's just got heaps of data and using broad match and etc. Let's just say they go in with a $15 bid, but their quality scores are 4 out of 10, right? It's not very good. Their ad copy isn't very relevant to the search, and the landing page also isn't very relevant. So Google looks at that and they say, okay, well, 15 times 4 gives you 60. So that's your ad rank. Okay. Now, let's just say you're a small advertiser, but you're making sure that you are satisfying all three requirements. You got amazing ad copy above average, and your landing page experience is like really strong above average, right? And then let's just say you expect a CTR, since you are a new advertiser and Google doesn't really have much data on you yet. Let's just say this is like average. So you got a 9 out of 10. And let's just say you go in with an $8 bid. Well, again, 8 times 9 is 72. So therefore, your ad rank is higher than this advertiser, even though their bid is, more than yours. So you win the auction. You appear number one for that particular query, and you've actually spent significantly less than what the big advertiser would have spent. So you spent $8 out of 15. So you get rewarded. Google rewards you for quality ads because all Google cares about is making sure that user experience is really, really good. And that's why quality score is a thing, to prevent big advertisers just coming in, spending a stupid amount of money and winning every single query. That wouldn't be fair. And also, it would probably destroy Google, right? Because relevancy goes out the window. So this is why quality score is a thing. And this is what we're going to take advantage of in order to actually stand out and in order to win conversions. Okay, so this is the large advertiser playbook. Now I'm just going to show you what most advertisers do. A lot of agencies do this as well. I'm not saying that this is what I do. I'm not saying this is the correct strategy. In fact, it isn't. This is definitely, I don't think this is the correct strategy, and I think you should still have control and a good strategy even if you have big budgets, right? That's a separate video. I'm not going to get into that, but the point is a lot of advertisers just use this strategy, right? And the strategy is this. Let's just say you've got like 10,000 conversions in your account. Like, you've got a lot of conversions. You've been an advertiser for 5 years. Sorry, you've been running that Google Ads account for 5 years, so you have heaps of data. Well, in that scenario, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to use broad match because, like, you've got heaps of data, and broad match, when you're using maximize conversions, well, that's like just really, really easy, right? Because you're going to maximize reach and you're going to let the AI filter low intent versus high intent queries. Like, it makes sense fundamentally. And this is what Google wants you to do, right? Because, yeah, like, it makes sense. So as an advertiser, like what will you gain? Well, you're going to gain maximum reach. You're capturing demand that you would miss if you're just running exact match, right? Like, if you're using broad match and you've got like 10 keywords or 20 keywords, you're pretty much going to cover every single query under the sun, especially if you're spending like $50,000 to $100,000 a month, right? The next one is the algorithm handles the targeting. So remember, the AI filters, the algorithm filters between low and high intent. It's not just going to show your ad to every single person. It's going to show your ad based off their level of intent, right? Scales easily, again, like a few broad keywords and, go for it. And yeah, like that's it. And smart bidding just, it basically just goes after very, very high intent users. So that's what you gain. However, you also sacrifice a lot, and you sacrifice quality score, right? So think about it like this. Remember how quality score works. Now, if you're using broad match, and broad match shows ads for loosely related searches, headlines often they don't match, right? So, like, that's the first thing. The second thing is, since your headlines don't match, your ad relevancy score drops when query and ad copy don't align. Therefore, if your ad copy is dropped, your CTR could also drop, and therefore your expected click-through rate falls on irrelevant impressions. So it hurts quality score there. And the last one is also they I don't have it here, but also your landing page, right? So let's just say your landing page is for like a particular query or particular service, and you're showing up for another kind of keyword that includes a different service, even though they might have high intent. Well, your landing page isn't particularly relevant to that search query, so therefore ad copy, your quality score is going to suffer. So they compensate with just sheer budget and heaps of data. That's the strategy. It's just, we got heaps of data, we got a massive budget, just go for the sun. Like, we don't really care about quality score because we've got that many, like, we can show up with that many queries that it essentially like kind of just offsets it, right? So this is the example this is the example, right? So same ad, very different relevance depending on what triggers it. So let's just say dentist near me, your ad copy is book a dentist near you today. All right, you're going to have a pretty good quality score, right? Like, your ad relevancy is going to be quite high. And let's just say your landing page is also optimized towards this, and you're going to have a good quality score. Now, let's just say you show for teeth whitening options, but your headline doesn't change, right? So therefore, you're also using book a dentist near you today. Then it gets worse, right? How much does dental work cost? book a dentist near you today. Now, of course, there's ways to mitigate this. There's definitely ways to mitigate this, but there's also a lot of lazy advertisers out there who just kind of use the same ad for every single ad group and campaign, right? And it's more common, unfortunately, than you would think. So this is what you're going up against, right? Okay, so now, like, well, how can we capitalize on this? Like, what do we do to capitalize on this? Well, remember, let's just summarize what the large advertiser is doing. Broad match covering hundreds of queries, generic ad copy, has to serve like just generic ad copy, right? Landing page built for volume, not precision. Quality score averages 4 to 6 across broad query pool, compensates with like just massive bids and huge budgets. Like that's the strategy. So now, how do you compete against that? Well, you need to go very granular and you need to be very, very specific and intentful with like what queries you're going after and the ad copy and landing page you're also choosing. So exact match, that's it. Don't use phrase, don't use broad, exact match. Very, very high relevant copy and tight landing pages. So like don't even try to like find 10 keywords, right? I mean, obviously it depends on your budget, but like just go after 3 to 5 really, really good queries. Like that's it. Like spend the time looking into quality over quantity in the beginning, right? So let's just say 3 keywords. You want to maximize the bids. You want to maximize control on those 3 keywords. Your ad copy mirrors the search terms exactly. So remember, like you only have a few keywords. So make really, really good ad copy, specific and relevant to those queries. Right? Remember how it works, right? If someone searches up dentist near me and they see dentist near me in the headline, you know, they're probably they're gonna click your ad. So very, very relevant ad copy. Landing pages that are actually specific to the search. So get custom landing pages that like include the query in the headline. Honestly, there's a lot of videos out there on like what makes up a really good landing page. So search, like have a look on YouTube, but just make sure that you actually build custom landing pages that match that query. So then what you're aiming for is you're aiming for quality scores that are like 8 to 10 for every impression, because like that's going to win auctions based off what I showed you before. Like you're gonna beat the big advertiser because they don't care about quality score. So lower bid, but wins on ad rank. So therefore you're actually saving money. And when you have lower budgets, saving money is important, right? So this is what it looks like in reality. Go after 3 very, very, very high intent queries. So again, we're using the dentist example. Dentist near me, dentist in Bondi, emergency dentist, right? And again, the other thing is like local ads are really, really good. So if you're a service, right? Like again, let's just say you're a dentist or even a lawyer, and you're located in a specific suburb. I've used Bondi here, right? And you're like located in Bondi. Going tighter, right? And like putting a radius and only wanting to serve to people pretty much in Bondi or maybe a 5 to 10 kilometer radius outside of Bondi is also going to increase relevancy because Google knows, right? Google looks at that and they're like, okay, well, they're located in Bondi and the radius that they're going after is like pretty much Bondi. So like, again, we want to make sure user experience is really, really high. This makes sense. So local ads are really good. And if you can, and you're like, you're a service and, you have a brick and mortar store or whatever, definitely limit your radius because that's going to help you a lot. Now, if you're not a service and, you're an online, just an e-com brand or whatever it is, or maybe you want to go after a larger pool, it's okay, right? Just, again, make sure relevancy is really, really high. Okay. So these are the 3 things, right? Like this is it. That's it. That's all we're going after, right? So what do we do? Make sure search query, dentist near me, add headline, find a dentist near you, book today. Perfect. If I'm searching up dentist near me and I see that, yeah, let's do it. Then your landing page, like it's also really relevant, right? Local dentist booking form, fast Load time is really, really important. Make sure you have a really good load time. Google looks at that and prioritizes it. And then you got a clear CTA. That's it. So remember, if you're a local business, let's just say Bondi, like dentist in Bondi, like obviously make sure the location is also very clear on the landing page. It's like, oh my god, I'm looking for a dentist in Bondi. I've seen that this has Bondi in the headline. It's dentist in Bondi. I click it, and then it has like, hey, we're located in Bondi. It's like you can't get much more relevant than that, and that's what you want. So versus the big advertiser, right? Dentist near me. The headline just makes no sense. Comprehensive dental care for your family. Okay, like again, it's somewhat relevant, but it's nowhere near as relevant as this. Then landing page is just like going to the homepage, just generic or services, and the load time slow. But let's just say the load time isn't slow because that's more of a just more of a case by case scenario. But the point is like this is nowhere near relevant. So this is nowhere near as relevant as this, and therefore your quality scores are going to be way higher than this advertiser. And what does that mean? Well, in the auction, you've won. Remember, $8 versus $15. Quality score is higher, therefore your ad rank 72. 8 times 9, 15 times 4, 72 versus 60. You win, and you actually spend less money on that click than this advertiser would have, even if they won. And then you appear number one because you want to maximize the top of page rate. And if you have the highest quality score, you're going to maximize top of page rate because you got the highest bid as well. And like, that's it. That's it. They're going to click on you. And if your landing page is really, really good and, all of that, you're going to get the conversion. And, that's it in a nutshell. Like, that's how you run search. That's how you run paid search if you're a small advertiser. And that's how you compete. Honestly, that is it. And if you think about it, it's not that challenging. The challenging part is putting in the effort. And most people just aren't willing to put in the effort, especially with AI now as well. So if you just go the extra mile, believe me, you're going to win, right? You're going to win. And then over time, as you get more and more conversion data, then you can eventually transition to smart bidding. And then, that's a completely different game. And now you can actually be, somewhat a bigger dog or competitor in the industry because you have heaps of conversion data that now you can leverage and you can transition to smart bidding. And that's a whole different strategy for a whole different video. But I hope this was really helpful. And I hope this helps a lot of small advertisers because, as I said, it's not just you. It's really difficult today to start on a small budget in the paid search space. It's not easy, right? So don't beat yourself up if you are finding it challenging because it's not an easy game. So cool. Hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.